everyone, we're going to learn about shading forms the next time we meet. To prepare you, I'll walk you through some of the vocabulary that is going to be used. First, what is a form? It is the three-dimensional version of a shape or combined shapes. A sphere is made out of a circle, a cube is made out of squares, a pyramid is made out of a triangle and a square, a cone is made out of a circle and a triangle, a cylinder is made out of a circle and a rounded cube. Second, light is how we see the forms around us. For a form to look 3D, it is necessary to capture the light correctly. When looking at a sphere, like a ball, notice how light is hitting your object. We divide the form into light and shadow. 2/3 light and 1/3 shadow is Leonardo da Vinci's theory of light and shadow. Within the form, there is levels of light and dark called tones. There is a place where the light is hitting directly, which will be the lighter tones, and the actual shadow, which will be the darkest tones. But in a sphere, there is an in-between tone called a halftone, which can be thought of as an area of twilight. Depending on the lighting, the form often has a highlight and a reflected light. If the light source is really strong, it leaves a highlight on the surface, which will be the lightest part within the form. This spot will move as you move. Then, depending on the type of surface the form is sitting on, some light will be bounced back on the object. This is the reflected light. Both of those lights on the form take up very little of the object, but it gives that added depth that really makes it pop out into the third dimension. Third, there are two types of shadow, form and cast shadow. Form shadow, which is mixed with the light tones. The cast shadow is the shadow created by the form itself. The cast shadow starts out by the source at its darkest and diffuses as it gets farther away from the form. The angle of the light directly determines the length of the shadow. The cast shadow grounds the object so it doesn't look like it's floating. The fourth and final part is the horizon line. The horizon line indicates the eye level by how it is placed. If we're looking above the object, the horizon line is going to be lower behind the object. If we're looking below the object, the line is higher or above the object. If you're looking straight at an object, the line should land at about the middle. Focus on perspective a little more later. For now, we'll just put it across the middle. Above the horizon line, we will darken around the form to create a background or backdrop for our form and give it a setting for the viewer to use as a reference for the form. The darker the background, the more the object and its shading will stand out. Let's review. Form is the three-dimensional version of a shape or combined shapes. A form is 2/3 light and 1/3 shadow. Tones are levels of light. The highlight is the lightest part on the form. Reflected light is light bounced back at the form. The two types of shadows are form shadow and cast shadow. The horizon line creates a background for your form. Now you are prepared for the next lesson. Please take the quiz and have a good day. Thank you.